we have the method of markers on this problem. I'll write that down here for you. The method of markers. Okay, so this is all about marking off a string of candies. So we have 14 candies lined up on the kitchen table here. And there's 4 kids, A, B, C, and D. And mom and dad are going to divide the candies among the 4 kids. But you know how that can go. There can be all kinds of complaining when you do that. But mom and dad are going to be smart about it. They're going to do it using the method of markers. And so here's the deal. They tell each of the children, so the kids are A, B, C, and D. Funny names for kids. All right, so, and they say, kids, put your markers wherever you want. So let's look at what kid A did first off. Kid A put a marker here, and they put a marker there between 2 and 3 and 3 and 4. Kid A put a marker there. So what does that mean? Kid A is saying, among these 14 candies, child A broke it up into 4 sections. These 4 different, here let me use, maybe different colors would be more helpful. So 4 different sections. So there's one section, here's a second section, here's a third section, and here's a 4th section. That's what child A is saying. Child A is saying, I will be happy with any of those 4 sections. And you might wonder, why would they only make that only one candy there? Well, that must be their favorite. Maybe that's a giant big block candy bar. I don't know. And these are all just a bunch of little gumdrops or something. I have no idea. These candies are not all the same. They're different. That's the beauty of this method. You can line up a whole bunch of things that are all different. You have 4 kids or however many kids who all have different desires, and yet this method will still divide up the stuff fairly among the 4 kids. So child A was free to put his or her markers wherever he or she wanted. Right? Child A decided that they would be happy if they got candies 1 and 2. They would think that's a fair share. Or just candy 3. That must be their favorite thing, whatever it is, or it's real big. Or candies 4 through 9. Child A has put a marker right here between 3 and 4, and right here between 9 and 10, saying I'll take candies 4 through 9, that's my 3rd section, or I'll take candies 10 through 14. Any of those 4 sections, and child A will be happy. Let's look at child B. Child B feels a little differently. Child B said, I'm going to put a marker right there, and right there. So child B is saying, I think candies 1 through 8 is a fair share. 9 through 11, 12, 13, or 14. Now you might say, oh no, child B is trying to trick the system. Well, he or she better not be, because he's only going to trick himself. This system is great because it encourages honesty. If you're dishonest, trying to fool the system, you'll end up only fooling yourself, and you might get a bad result. So for example, you may think, well, why did he put one only for 14? Well, he probably loves that candy, and that's his favorite. So if he just got candy 14, he would be happy. He thinks that's a fair share. Whereas candies 1 through 8, that must be something he doesn't like as much. So if he got all those, that would be equal in his mind to just getting candy 14, or just getting candy 12 and 13, or 9, 10, and 11. If he's dishonest about it, he's going to be sad, because he's going to get one of those 4 sections. That's the beauty of this method. When all is said and done, everybody will get one of their 4 sections that they themselves marked out. So notice, all the people put markers in different places. All the people have different desires on what candies they prefer. It doesn't matter. They can do it, and this method will guarantee that everybody will get one section they marked out. So everybody will get fair treatment. That's what this chapter has been all about, fair division. How can you take a bunch of people, in this case 4 kids, that have different desires, and we have different objects, different candies, and somehow break up the stuff so that everybody feels that they got a fair amount, even though they have different desires and the candies are different types of candies. Well, this one's the method of markers. It's really useful when you have a bunch of different objects that are what we call discrete. They're separate. It's not one big connected cake or pizza. That's continuous. This is a discrete, discontinuous. It's 14 separate items. Okay, so how do we do the method of markers? Let me give you the steps, because it's a little tricky. So step number 1, put A1, A2, A3, and B1, B2, B3, etc. Put little numbers by them. So the first A is A1, A2, A3. I'll do them all different color. D, here's D1, D2, D3. Just the first D is 1, the second is 2, the third is 3. C1, 2, 3. It doesn't matter what order you do these in. Just every letter has to have a 1, 2, and 3. So B1, B2, B3. That way we know their first marker, their second marker, and their third marker. So all I'm doing there is the first marker is the first one on the left, the second one's the next one, the third one's the one on the right. So I just went 1, 2, 3 from left to right for each of the letters. That's the first step. Step number 2. Take the first number 1 marker, circle to the left. So what's the first number 1 marker? Starting on the left. We're starting on the left here. What's the first number 1 marker? Well, right there, D1. So it's marking right there between candies 1 and 2. All these markers are sitting between candies, separating the candies into different sections. So marker D1's right there between candies 1 and 2. What does it say to do? Take the first number 1 marker, meaning first number 1 marker, first on the left marker, and circle to the left. So circle to the left. So that there is D's candy. In fact, let me go back, and D was a purple, I think. So I'll circle that for D. There's D's candy. D gets candy 1. So that's for D. Then remove all number 1 markers. Well, how about I just say cross out? Cross out all number 1 markers and all of that letter, whichever letter just got his candy. So I'm going to cross out all number 1 markers now. So bye-bye A1, bye-bye C1, bye-bye B1. All the number 1 markers are removed. And also D, so D has his candy. This is D's candy. So remove the other instances of D. So do you see what I just did there? I crossed out all the number 1 markers and all the D's. Because that's the letter that just got his candy. So D is going to get candy number 1, which is his fair share of candy. He decided to put his marker there, saying that candy number 1 would be a fair share to him, so he gets what he marked. So next, our second step, or our third step, I guess it is. Take the first number 2 marker, circle to the left. This is very important here. Only to that, it's not very nice writing here. That letters section. So very, very important. This is the mistake people make. This is where they get confused, right here. So make sure, let me do something to really help you see that. This is it. It's right here. This is what gets people. So take the first number 2 marker, circle to the left, just like we did before, but only to that letter section. What am I talking about? So what I'm talking about is this. What's the first, so from the left, what's the first number 2 marker? Right there, right? A2. So right there, but only go to there. Why didn't I go all the way to the 2? Because see where A's other marker was? Right here and right here. A himself put those markers right there, marking off just candy number 3. He was saying, I think candy number 3 is a fair share. So we don't give him candy 2 also. That's not part of this section that he marked out, right? Look at A's markers. A put markers between candies A1 and A2, marker A1 and A2 right here, marking off just candy 3. So you only go to that letter section, not beyond. That's the mistake. A lot of people will basically get the method of markers, but the mistake they'll make is they'll go, okay, yeah, here's the first number 2 marker, I got it, and they'll circle like that. Wrong. They went right past the other A marker. See how it is? Only give people their section. Everybody's only going to get one of the sections they marked out. This was crossed off. So we're going to give A just candy 3 because that's a marker, a section that A marked off by putting markers around 3. He was saying candy 3 is acceptable to me. And then, same old thing, cross out all the number 2 markers and all of that letter. So whenever you do them, give away a candy. So now we got to cross off all the number 2 markers. Let's go do that. So C2. Wait, where else are we? So A2 is done. And we fret D1. I did D. Are there any other? Oh, and B2. Okay, so all the 2 markers are canceled, right? Cross off all the number 2 markers and all of that letter. What letter? The letter that just got his candy. So this is A's candy here. This is D's candy there. So cross off the rest of the A's. A is done. There we go. So did you track with what I did there? Let's go back. So we've done the number 1 marker and we've done the number 2 marker. A and D have received candies. So all the number 1 and number 2 markers are crossed off and all A's and D's are crossed off. See how that is? All the number 1, so all that's left is the number 3 markers for B and C. That's all that's left. Because all the number 1 and 2 markers are crossed off and all of A and D are crossed off because they've already received their candy. All right. Next step, pretty much the same. Take the first number 3 marker, and whenever we say first, we mean on the left. The first number 3 marker on the left. And I'll just draw an arrow there. Same thing. Circle to the left, only to that letter section. So what's the first number 3 marker? Right here, C3. So I'm going to circle to the left. Now, how far? Do I just go way like crazy like that? No. Remember, only till the next marker, which is right there. So in other words, just candies 11 and 12, that will be C's section. Just candies 11 and 12. C put a marker here, right? There's his C2 marker and put a marker there. You might say, well, you crossed those out. Yeah, we crossed them off because we don't want to get confused, but it's still where C put a marker. C put a marker right here between 10 and 11 and between 12 and 13, marking out candies 11 and 12 as a valid section that C would be happy with. So that's what C gets, is candies 11 and 12. All right, we've only got 1 marker left. Step 5, I think, is pretty obvious. Step 5, take the last marker, but this time we circle to the right. So on the very last step, you go to the right. All the rest have been going to the left. So what's the very last marker? Who hasn't got their candy? We got D's candy, A's candy, C's candy. Who's left? B. There it is. There's B. Who put a marker right there? And so go to the right. That's B's candy. B put a marker right here, saying I would be happy with just candy 14. So that's what B gets. Just candy 14. So there we have the candies. We got D's candy, got candy 1, A got candy 2, C got candy 11 and 12, B got candy 14. And what about all the other candies? The other candies are left over. They're left over for mom and dad. Now you might say, well, this is a terrible method. No, notice every one of the children got one of the sections that they marked out. They are free. They were free to put those markers wherever they wanted and say what they thought were 4 equal sections. D put a marker right here, saying I would be happy with just candy 1. He got it. A put markers here and here, saying I'd be happy with just candy 3. He got it. C put a marker here and there, saying I'd be happy with candies 11 and 12. He got it. And B put a marker here, saying I'd be happy with just candy 14. He got it. So everybody got one of the sections they marked out, and there's a whole bunch left. Which ones are left over? Candy 2, candy 4, candy 5, candy 6, candy 7, candy 8, candy 9, candy 10, and candy 13. There is a whole bunch of leftover candy. Now what's their actual question? Which pieces will A receive? A got candy number 3. Well, we just put a 3 on that line, don't we? So A got candy number 3. D got candy 1. C got candies 11 and 12. B got candy 14. So that's the method of markers. Again, here's the steps. You put the numbers, the 1, 2, 3, on the letters. You take the first number 1 marker on the left, and you circle to the left. Cross out all the number 1 markers and all that letter. Then you take the first number 2 marker on the left and circle to the left only to that letter section. Cross out all the number 2 markers and all of that letter. Take the first number 3 marker on the left, do the same thing. Last step, take the last marker, circle to the right. And there's a bunch that are left over when we're done with this. There we go. That's the method of markers.